Well, hello, good Woche, everyone. We're talking about Dale Koenig.
Mhm.
Yotzat,
Loser.
Musa Koenig is Yotzat is tomorrow.
Below Mordechai and Gedalyahu Aharon.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Big El Chayid. Okay, so we might as well start, and if we have any more people coming along, they'll be terrific. So we are, Yotz Hashem, we'll learn Sichos Haran. We're going to discuss Sipurey about Shemtov. We'll talk a little bit about other tzaddikim, and I decided to add to it, Yotz Hashem, also to start telling a story from Rabbeinu Arizal. So we have a story from this and a story from that, and Yotz Hashem, as we go along, yeah, Motzei Shabbos, and Sipurey tzaddikim, Yotz Hashem, elevate our das. So let's go first with the Sipurey Baal Shemtov, and so one time, the holy brothers, the Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk, and his brother, the Rebbe Bzusha, they were in the forest. Maybe it was during the time that Prophet Golos, they went on Golos. Many tzaddikim did that. Going Golos meaning that they were traveling and would not stay at the same place for more than 24 hours, for a long time. Anyhow, so they came to a forest, they saw Leah and Novi together, Baal Shemtov standing in a mountain of burning fire. Now, the Baal Shemtov was before the time of the Rebbe Melech. And they saw that Leah and Novi is taking a piece of fire and he's giving it to Baal Shem HaKadosh. Shem HaKadosh is taking it and throwing it heavenwards, and most of the sparks went up to the Shemayim, and some fell down to earth. So the holy brothers asked Eliyahu Novi, what does this mean? So the second person that's standing before us, this was, the Ne'eman Melech did not know the Baal Shem Tov. They didn't realize this was the Baal Shem Tov. So, but they knew Eliyahu Novi. And so Eliyahu told him, this is the Baal Shem Tov, and these pieces of fire that I'm giving to him is the neshamas that are in the world. And I'm giving them to him so he will fix them and will elevate them to their source. And those that believed in him are going on the Shemayim, and those that did not, they fall down to earth. We have a Kabbalah, Biyat Tzadikim. Shem HaKadosh was one of the neshamas that ran away from Adam Arishon. Chod Etz Hadas did not partake in the sin of the tree of knowledge. The Maggid of Chernobyl said that until Mashiach will come, Bezrat Hashem, sooner nowadays, every sigh, every wistful sigh that a Jew will sigh, breaking his heart in Hirur Tshuva, is all from the koyach of the Baal Shem HaKadosh. It's a theme which is repeated many times in a great depth by Reb Nosson in Likutei Halachos. When you say this kind of saying, it sounds like a hyperbole. So it's a question like, do you believe it or you don't believe it, or you believe it like in a general fashion, whatever, how does it fall into is this something that you're supposed to believe that what is this? But in Likuta Halachos, Reb Nosson goes deeply into that. Likuta, that this is not a sguladic thing. This is not like, do you know how great they are? They can, whatever it is. My father's so strong, that you can go thick and he lifts a mountain. That this is not that kind of wooji kind of thing. It's the technical way that the world is built. The world is built upon the foundation of the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the foundation of the world, and the koyach of the tzaddik is immeasurable. I mean, the Ishbitzer, the Rebbe from Ishbitz, one of the Talmidim from the school of Kotsk, the Rebbe from Kotsk is very blunt about it. He actually says that everything that we attribute to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we say about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right now is the tzaddik. It's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is way beyond that. In other words, that is creating the world, that is bringing down rain, whatever it is. This is already in the koyach of that incredible neshama that the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave him the keys, literally gave him the keys to this world, begashmis and beruchnius. And all the tzaddikim that we are mentioning are all people that it's not because it's some kind of a, he has some kind of a schos or whatever it is. But these are people that did whatever it is that they did. That there wasn't a single look that they looked in this world that was not connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There wasn't a single, they didn't listen to any word being said in this world, except for what is Nagiat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they obviously didn't say anything that is Nagim in Inone Olam Hazeh. Everything there was, it looked like Inone Olam Hazeh, but had nothing to do with Olam Hazeh. They were totally davuk and connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Torah at all times. So Mimele, the Kodesh Baruch Hu said, "The Aretz Nasa Livnei Adam." The Kodesh Baruch Hu gave the earth to people, meaning that everything that happens in the Aretz is in the hands of people. Which people? The tzaddik. So now we're going to move in Mitzvah Shem Schus again Alein L'Schut the Baal Shem HaKadosh and all the tzaddikim that we're telling stories from. Another tremendous ma'aseh from Rabbeinu Rashash, Reb Sholem Sharabi, the great Mekubal, considered to be the intermediary between, the Rabbeinu Arizal and the Baal Shem HaKadosh. All the Mekubalim that learn today, the daven Siddur, whatever it is, they actually daven with the Siddur, with the Kavonos Rashash, and there is a Siddur with Kavonos Rashash, where it's the Siddur itself. I think is a Shachar. I think Shachar and Meir. I'm not sure, but this is and it's 8 volumes. That Siddur with the Kavonos is it's every single word. There is a different kind of kavanah, and it's called Kavonos Arizal, the Siddur Rashash, the Siddur of Rabbeinu Reb Sholem Sharabi, of whom we're talking now. And I'm not sure if the Baal Shem said it, or Rabbeinu said it, or Nosson said it. It says, but the Siddur Rashash, which is 8 volumes, seriously thick volumes, because when you look at the Siddur, every single page is like one word or one pasuk on top, and then the rest is all the kavanos of the person that the Mekubalim, were mechavan during the davening. It said this entire Siddur is just the kavanas that the Arizal was mechaber in one day, Shachas mechaber of a single day. Every single day there were different kavanas. So Siddur Rashash, 8 volumes, it's just one day of the days of the Arizal. So now we're talking Ma'aseh Niflo from Rabbeinu Rashash. The time of the Rashash, there was a Ma'aseh from a Turkish minister that his house was in the street that led to the Jewish cemetery, B'Sachaim. And when the minister saw that a lot of Levias were passing there, he put on a big tax on every Leviah that comes there. Once the Leviah came there, and the people that were going together with Leviah were very poor; they couldn't pay. So, but the minister would not listen. He says, "Go back. You start giving in here. What's going to happen there." So, the closest, the people close to the Nifta went to ask Eitzah from the Rashash. So he was sitting there in his Talmidim, and he was learning Kabbalah. And immediately when they heard, he got up and told all his Talmidim, "Let us get up, and together we will pay our respects to the Nifter." And he went, the head of the Malovim, when the minister saw the Jews coming, he put his head out of the Soragim, of his window, and demanded the sum of money that he said. So Rabbeinu Rashash told the people to keep on going with the Levaya, but he himself did not move. And he just looked at the minister without saying anything. And the minister became very upset. And he, tried to get his hand out between the Soragim and, get things going, but his head was stuck. He could suddenly, the Soragim closed it on him, couldn't get his head out. So the Levaya went and to Harazal, and the Nifta was buried. And obviously, later on, the minister forwent has forgone the tax. There's another story from Rabbeinu Rashash. At one time, in one of the holidays, one of the Rabbanim and the Kubbalim came back from Shachris, wearing big the Yontiv, and there was this zealot Muslim, and he looked at him, and very, very quickly he became incensed, and he saw that the green folds in the turban, the Sephardi hat of the Makubal. Now, the green color is considered sacred for the Muslims. So he slapped the Makubal and sued him before the minister of the town. The minister of the town was a Son Israel, can you imagine? And he was a very cruel person. He made a big to-do about that. And it was a big sorrow between the Muslims and the Jews. And the Jews found out, the Muslims, like they do today, they start to get together. They're going to say they're going to jump up, start with against the Jews. They wanted to see how can they forestall this. So they went to Rabbeinu Rashash and told him the ganze Meise and asked him to please, beg mercy from Shemaim to be vatal d'gzera. So the Rashash told them that they have to make a fast day, and this in tefillah, and this is what they did. Baruch Hashem had rachmanos on them. And those days, what happened was that the daughter of the minister of the town became sick, and she was so severe. She was so sick that the doctor came and they said that there's nothing I can do for her. So belatedly, they gave the minister of the town an Eitzah to call the Rashash. Even the Muslims knew. I mean, he was a holy man. Everybody knew about that. So the Rashash was hastened over to the town, to the palace of the minister, and he came there, and he told the minister immediately. He said, "Don't worry about it. Your daughter is written to life. She'll be fine. Don't worry about it." And so it happened. Hashem, his daughter, she became fine, and the minister of the town, wanted to, be Mashiv Tov Tachatov. He was Mavatal the Gzera that they're going to do this pogrom on the Jews, and from that day on, the greatness of the Rashash, I mean the fame of the Rashash became greater and greater by all the people in Shalim at that era. And now we're going to Yitz Hashem, make a new beginning. We're going to say some Yitz Hashem, tell some mises from Rabbeinu Arizal, Rosh Yisrael, Zecher Tzal Yikosh Lochos Chusat Agin Aleinu, that has shown with a new light the Teres Nistar, and he's a shpoil, obviously, and on all the people in his generation, all the Tamater, all the Gdolim. I mean, it's his in the La Locha. You can see the Chofetz Chaim many times brings, the day of Rabbeinu Arizal, L'maisa La Locha, that the other people hold, the other person can hold this way, and the halacha is when the Arizal holds something else, he brings him down as well. So this is almost like how the whole thing starts in Taf Chuf Hey. That's 15, should be 1570 something, I'm not sure. There was a caravan of Hasidim coming to Eretz Yisrael, to the Galilee, and they were riding donkeys and going very slowly in a very dusty way that comes to Tzfas. The sun was setting when they came out from the valley. They saw the beautiful town of the Mekobolim. They were, extremely excited, but that excitement was mixed in pain, because they saw, this beautiful B'Knesset Faradi, that was famous Shemariah Kodesh, and it was in ruins. And that was the extent of the great earthquake that happened in Tzfas a few years before. You could see from ahead, you see the houses were broken, and only here and there stood a house was still. These people, they made the behemoths, go quicker. They come. They went. Okay, I'm sorry. This was actually Tafkuf Chavhei. Was in Tafkuf in Aleph Rabbeinu Kodesh. That was like 50 years, 60 years before Rabbeinu. That's like 1700s. So they decided, something, they'll go to daven mincha in the place where Ariya Kodesh daven there. And they came in, they went inside. I mean, the place was, broken, was in ruins, but still, there was a big bima of shaish and it was just there were stones that fell from the roof on the bima, and more than anything, there was a little alcove, a little meorah in the middle of the Shemesh. That was the place where the Arizal used to sit. So this is where Liao Zochelatov, revealed himself to Arizal, and he was learning. And then they saw inside this alcove that something that is built of stone. He says that it was cemented over very, very closely, and there's a net tamid burning there. One of the guests, Rabbi Simcha ben Yeshua, came to the Chacham Rabbi Binyamin, who is the Gabbai and the Gizbar of Kupas Stoka and the Shul, and he heard from him a tremendous ma'aser. And he says, it wasn't long ago that he said that he became sick, the Gabbai said. He says, for 12 weeks, he suffered. He says, and Baruch Hashem, he said that he became well back, the schus of Ariyah Kodesh, that he saw him in his dream. And he says, and I saw in my dream, Chacham Binyamin said, that I came to the shul of Arizal to relight the net tamid in case it flashed out. And I saw Arizal sitting in his place. And I came to him, and he was covered with a talis, and he looked like he was, 33 or 34, and his black beard and his beautiful. I mean, Arizal just, passed away when he was like 35, so it's 34, 35. So I asked him, who are you? So he said, I am Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. So he says, and I begged him. He says, listen, I'm very ill. So Arizal told him, why don't you look to fix up what's broken in this shul? When the rain come down, the rains are going through the cracks into the shul. So I said, but he says, he could swear there's nothing in the Kupas Shazaka, there's no money. So Arizal said, so do so and so in order to mechazik the Bedek Habayit. Physically do that and that. So he said, my master, I'm sick. So Arizal said, listen, let no other person come to the place where I used to sit when I was in this world, because that place is holy. And children are coming here, and they're playing here, and they're doing all kinds of fellowship, all kind of funny stuff in my seat. So I said the third time, my master, I'm not well. So he said, give me your hand. I gave him my hand, and I opened up my eyes. He said to people around me, please give me something to eat. He says, and I got up from my ill bed, and he said, and I was astonished. I, said that a big stone needs to be rolled on the place of Arizal, and supposed to plaster it, tilting so nobody can either stand or sit in the place of Arizal until today, and I fixed the holes in the cracks of the Azara so rain shouldn't come in. And here, this particular shul that is looking at the Mul Meiron, in the caver with the caver of the tunnel of Kiev Shem Bayachai, Arizal. This is the place that Arizal was kaver to himself, to daven, to learn. That's the place where he used to learn together with Liao Novi, Zachol Atov, that revealed himself to him on a constant basis and revealed to him hidden secrets. And this was the place where in the Zohar and the Kabbalah came from the mouth of Rabbeinu Arizal, the line of the Chabura Ish Elokim Kodesh, one of the most singular, outstanding Chidus Gula in all the generations, and it put the foundations of the spreading of Teres, Kabbalah, Barabim. Now, many generations, Sefer Azar was completely hidden, and that with the way when it actually was revealed by Moshe through Moshe de Leon, actually was revealed before, but nobody knew what was written in it until Moshe de Leon put it together according to the Pasuk Shavua. And until then, even then, nobody understood what was written in it. Until Rabbi Yitzchak Lori Rabbeinu Arizal, Ria Kodesh, explained it, and he worked in order to spread the learning of Chochmas and Kabbalah, with the people, and from him and his Talmidim, all the people in Tzfas did it, and all the minhagim that are based on the Zohar and the Kilos of Mizrach and Ashkenaz in Eastern Europe. And that's why this tremendous city was called Birasim, the capital of the Galilees, the Eresim of Kabbalah, the cradle of Kabbalah. And in that particular time, the Arizal, they were like some of the greatest people in the history of Judaism. The in Nigla in Nister, like the Moshe Cordovero, the Ramak was there just before him. Abishom al Kabetz, Baal Chadoidi, Moshe Alshech, Alshech HaKadosh, and of course Rabbi Yosef Karo, Baal Shulchan Aruch, and Moshe Yosef, and Rabbi Lodzo Azkari about the Sefer Haredim, and many others. Kedosh Elyon, an unbelievable generation that was there. And in that incredible Kehillah, shown this sevenfold, this towering image of Rabbeinu Arizal, even though he was young, he was very, very young. He was like 2 years in Tzfat. That's the whole thing, even nothing less than 2 years. But even though he was that young, the people in Tzfas, many of them were much, the great people of Tzfas, even though they were much older than him, immediately realized his greatness. And they all, bend their heads down before him because they saw within him, he's the Rebbe, he's the Moreh Roa, everybody. And he's teaching it, it's Magshemit, Lachal Maisa, and that's the way he is in the tfisa of the people until today. There are very, very few people in Am Yisrael that are called a Kodesh. There is, the Alshech HaKodesh, Arizal is Ori HaKodesh, and his name is obviously synonymous with outstanding greatness in the annals of Jewish alumni, whatever you want to call it, together with Shem Yochai and Rabbeinu HaKodesh was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and so forth and so on. So B'ezrat Hashem, in the coming weeks, we will add another story of Rabbeinu Arizal to Motzei Shabbos. So, little story here, little story there, B'ezrat Hashem, together with Sichos Haran. And now, B'ezrat Hashem, let's get to the Sicha of this week. Is Sicha 161. Kuf Samech. I'll just say, whoa, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with this picture here? All right. Okay, let's go down here. No, that's not 91. I actually put it already here. Okay. There we go. Okay. So last week, we were talking about Rabbeinu fasting when he was still a teenager. When he was fasting 18 times a year from one Shabbos to the next. And Rabbeinu's neshama, was an immense neshama. Everyone says it's The Pele Godol is the Shalom. But that immense neshama that the Baal Shemtov, his children, have placed in this world would not have become Rabbeinu HaKadosh if not this tremendous avodah that he put in order to maximize everything that was within his talent. And he says that chapter 161, Sicha 161, this is one time during those Tanesim, this fast that he would fast from one Motzei Shabbos until the Knesset of the other Shabbos, he was under a great deal of danger because he did not prepare for himself anything for after Tainus, the way that the people, I mean, he wasn't the only one who fasted from Shabbos to Shabbos, but usually people will leave behind, some milchiks and some hot drinks, and Rabbeinu did not prepare anything for him. He didn't even know anybody, he didn't want anyone to know. And nobody knew of it, and he ate regular foods that other people ate. And one day he was under a great deal of danger. And obviously they make a big bruha out of this. But still, after the Tainus, from Shabbos to Shabbos, was Friday, he went to the mikveh, and there was a cold mikveh. Actually, it was very, very cold. It was a freezing mikveh. The Rabbeinu went there, and he traveled there, and he stood in the water for about 2 hours straight. That even a healthy person couldn't do it. So let's talk about this a little bit. This is not the first time that Rabbeinu would do that. Rabbeinu has done that standing in a mikveh that's so cold that the surface of the water had a crust of ice. And Rabbeinu would stand there in the mikveh for more than an hour. As a child, I'm not talking about even as a teenager. So it was something which it's physically impossible to do this. So Dalia Koenig, Tzadik Livrocha, the father of Abluza Koenig, whose Yortzis is tomorrow, actually explained this. And this is a concept that we know about today. That so he didn't use the modern terms for it, but he said, how come Rabbeinu was just a child is able to stand in a cold mikveh, freezing mikveh, for an hour, over an hour? What's this? How can he do this? Without freezing to death? So he said that the mind is so strong. If a person holds steadfast, his mind steadfast, he will not freeze. Today we call it mind over matter. The nekuda that we need to learn from this is, besides the fact that we're talking about people, it's way beyond our pay grade. The anacle of the Baal Shem HaKadosh, that's able to exercise mind over matter as a child, to stand in the freezing water and basically not freeze to death. But the nekuda is not that we should go ahead and stand in freezing water or whatever. That's not the point. The point is that we should be looking for and asking for resoluteness. Well, that's what we call gemiras das. I'm not talking about standing in the freezing mikveh for an hour. I'm talking about davening in the morning and starting from korbanos, or to say the words out loud, not can say b'koyach, b'vakasha, but even just to say the word out loud and hold your mind with the words that you're reading. It says, okay, this word is Hoidu, Hashem, Kiru Bishmoy, Hodiu Ba'amim Eloisam. Who are you talking to? You're talking to the angels. Tell the angels, Hoidu Hashem, Kiru Bishmoy, let all the nations know of Kodesh Baruch Hu, what Kodesh Baruch Hu's deeds. Keep your mind connected to what your mouth is saying. What it actually takes is a decision. So Rabbeinu HaKodesh was able to make a decision to the point that even as a child, he was able to stand in a cold mikveh and not freeze to death. We need to understand, what is negea to me? What do I have? Where am I actually giving myself okay, just come in. Let go. It's fine. All right. Don't worry about it. It's on me. What do you mean on you? That kind of decision, being resolute, it's a state of mind. People who are very successful in any endeavor have this kind of quality of resolution. I'm making up my mind, and I'm not going to sway. This is the because the Yetzer Hara is an expert of going boo and scaring me off. Being resolute. Being resolute has to enter everything. Has to enter into getting married, into being a parent, into davening, into learning, into everything that a person does, into keeping bad thoughts out of the head. That 1,000,001 reasons why we want to sort of like, all right, relax. Don't relax. We're speaking a Sich of Chizuk to ourselves when we need to speak a Sich of Isiris to ourselves. The idea is to give yourself the right Sicha, the right kind of pep talk, which is commensurate with what you need at this point in time. So we all know, Baruch Hashem, the Sicha of Chizuk. Don't worry about it. You fell, you'll start again. Don't worry. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Baruch Hashem. But there are times when we need the Sich of Iserus. The world is passing. The clock is ticking. This Olam Hazeh, this Olam Haba. And the time comes. The 120 years we have to leave this place. And for every single thought, for every single word, every single thing that is not appropriate, that it has consequences. But not only that, also every single, I'm not saying Chas v'Chalila what we do wrong, or Chas v'Chalila when we do bad. I'm also talking about not doing good, missing out on time I could learn, time I could this. We're letting the time run, through our fingers. And La'asit Lavoi, we're not going to be very happy for it. Say the antidote is to work on resolution. To ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for resolution. That I will be resolved in my mind to do what it is that I believe that I need to be doing. Maybe it won't work on once, maybe take a little time, maybe Seder Gamor, no problem. But keep on keeping on. There's no problem, there's no taina to you for not being able to do something. But there is a taina for you not wanting to become able to do that. That is a very, very important nakuda we need to learn from the Sichos Haran that we learned this week. B'ezrat Hashem, the schus of all these gavaldige tzaddikim that we that we told the stories tonight. We'll all have, Zat Hashem, a wonderful week. And so we'll use this period of Shovavim to sanctify ourselves. Zat Hashem will to everything good with Zat Hashem. Hashem will see you all, or whoever it is going to show up Monday night as we learn Sipurey Maisias. Kol Tuv.